Hi, my name's Paula Duckworth. My job title is I'm a financial and charitable funds accountant. I work for Lincolnshire Community Health Services, and we're a trust that looks after people in the community when they've perhaps received care from the hospital and they've been discharged, or maybe we're going to help them in their home so they don't have to go to hospital. I'm an accountant by training, so my main part of the role is to look after the figures and make the sums add up. But as part of that, I've moved in towards governance to keeping the charity straight and honest and legal. So I help money that comes in um, to account for it, but also so that we spend it in the right way, because we've got to really be mindful of donors' wishes. With everything we do, we've got to do what the donors want us to do. And that's the same for Charities Together money. Captain Tom raised the money for us to benefit the NHS, and hundreds and thousands of people gave money, and it's been really, really gratefully received. So we made an application to Charities Together, and they've promised to support our project. So I'm here to make sure that we do exactly as they've asked us, and we spend the money in the right way on the project and get value for money, etc. And I keep us straight on that. I'd really like to see the service develop and grow so it actually is adopted afterwards. So some of the things we're doing are not strictly clinical in inverted commas, but they really are helping patients, and they're going to help more and more, and service users. And I just think that it would be really nice if we can actually grow the service to the point where the clinical side of it carries on helping people with their clinical needs. But from the work that we're doing, lots of the help is non-clinical. And I think that those things can really benefit. And this social prescribing is very of the moment, but it's really, really effective and true. So I'd like to see a new service come out of this and an expansion of what's being offered to help more people. I absolutely, well, I was going to say I don't speak to patients, but generally I don't. The only time that I might do is if somebody's made a donation, a gift to the charity, and I might speak to them just to clarify what their real hopes are for the money that they've given us. So it's very rare that I speak to patients, and it's also quite rare that I have anything to do with the sort of the patient facing service, just by the nature of what I do. My colleagues all do when they work with nurses and clinicians, but not me, no. Well, it was in a meeting with you actually, Vicky. Yeah, I hadn't heard of it at all. I didn't know what it was. I could kind of guess what the word means just by its two words clamped together, but no, I was completely naive of it. Now I know it means people working together to produce something jointly. Um, and it's been an amazing journey for me. So now I know that if we're designing a service, if we work with people who need to use that service, then we'll get a better outcome. Because as clinicians or managers, we think we know what people need and what will be good for them, but we don't know that. By hearing their voice, we can really be sure that what we're going to deliver, what we're going to provide, is exactly what they need and want. Well, again, it was in the meeting with you, Vicky, and it was in a meeting with, I can't remember, 3 or 4 people with lived experience of long COVID, and it's given me goosebumps just thinking back to remembering it. They were so generous with the information that they gave us about their fears, about their symptoms, about the whole parcel of illness and effect on their bodies and their minds and their families. And these people were just so open and trusting to tell us their private information. It's making a lump in my throat, genuinely. And so it affected me greatly. It actually made me cry. Because in life we don't normally see that level of openness. We pretend, if we ask people, how are you? And we say, oh, everything's fine, even though we know it's not. So to actually meet people who were kind enough to share their private information for the good of the service that we were trying to develop was amazing. It was such a generous thing to do. That's really hard to answer. I guess I'd assumed people would tell us, oh, we need something, but I didn't expect in any way the emotion that backed up and provided evidence for what we actually need, want, or desire to happen. So, yes, I guess I knew the facts. They would tell us things and we would say we can or we can't. But in no way had I even begun to estimate the power of that conversation. It was amazing. Um, well, the difference, I'd come up with a really, I thought, fantastic idea, and it was nicely shot down, and rightly so. So the difference to me is that, with all well-meaning, and I like to think I'm a nice person, and I'd come up with what I thought was a nice idea to help, and then people with lot lived experience said that's not going to work because. So for me, it's that refining and that honing. And if it had been left to me, I'd have wasted on money on something that absolutely wouldn't help and wouldn't be necessary and would actually make things worse. So the difference is making the money count, making the service as good as it can be, the best it can be. I'd say come and take part. And if, when you're in the meeting, whether that's virtual or face to face, if it's not your bag, absolutely not a problem. But I will be extremely surprised if you aren't carried along to contribute and comment on the things that are being said and offered to help steer the service design, the provision, to what will be the most effective benefit for you and for others. Come along and give it a try. I'd say open your heart and have a go. As an accountant, I'm not in the caring side. I'm obviously a caring person. I'm mum and family member, but I wouldn't count myself as a carer in any way. But you can actually see the effect it's having on other people, and purely from a financial point of view, you can actually make the money buy the right things. We want to spend it wisely, and this is a fantastic tool to do that. So yeah, it's a really, really powerful thing to do. So the next chapter is to get lots of co-production work going on, to get to hear the voice of people who are actually living with this illness condition, so that we can shape the way we're spending the money and design the service to be really, really effective. And I can honestly say that I've seen people benefit from taking part in the co-production, because people in the meetings have actually said that was the first time I'd ever heard somebody else express that they'd had the same symptom as I have. And so I know that if anybody takes part, they will benefit along the way. So the benefit starts today. It doesn't start when the project is launched or refined or at some point in the future. So yes, I'd like lots of people to take part, to benefit themselves, but to benefit others. When we first started this project, I didn't have the time. I'm a really busy person. I don't have the time for these meetings, but I'm so, so glad that I've made the effort to come quite often in my own time after work, and I never get to take the flexi time back. So I'm doing it because I want to do it, not because I have to do it as part of my job. And I just thank you for the opportunity. I had no idea that co-production was like this. I hadn't really any idea what it was. And it's made me realise that we could use co-production as a tool for lots of different things in life. You know, let's talk, let's share, let's plan things together and get it right and not waste money. Let's do it.